Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Speak. I am your host, Emily Miller, intuitive guide and healer. So, this week I thought we could have a little reintroduction. I feel like there might be some new listeners who need a little bit of background information on who I am, what I do here, and kind of just my purpose for being here with this podcast for you guys. So, please allow me to reintroduce myself. Like I said in the intro, I am an intuitive guide and healer. And I guess the first thing I want to kind of start with for what I do and why I'm here is that first, I have spent a lot of time training my intuition. And some people are kind of like, what's intuition? What does that mean? Is that just like a gut feeling? Like, intuition has sort of like a very vague definition, even in the spiritual community. And so, when I say that am an intuitive guide, that means that I tap into the energies that you guys send out. I even tapped into it right before I came into this podcast as my collective listening audience and to see like exactly what you guys needed to hear from me today, which was a little reintroduction of what I do. So, I use my intuition to tap into y'all's energy, whether it's in a collective or it's to an individual, and if it's a one on one situation. And I'll tap into that energy by using my intuition, and there are parts of the brain that we don't use as human beings. We use like 6 to 8% of our brain power on a daily basis, and we have this massive amount of our brains that we don't use, we haven't been taught to use. And if we were living in a perfect world where things were the way that Source intended them to be, we would at age 3 be learning how to tap into our intuition. We would be learning how to use all those parts of our brains that have been turned off. Because as little kids, we are pure sources of light. Our energies as babies have not been tainted by the ideas and things that the world kind of piles onto us, their expectations, the way that they are telling us that we should act and believe and be and do and all of these things. So as babies, we're these like pure little sources of light, and we are super intuitive. We're connected to our intuition. We understand our value and our worth by literally just being us, these beautiful little babies. We are fully and completely taken care of and provided for by all the people around us by just being us. And we also are able to kind of like tap into energies. How many times have you like heard or had stories be told to you about like little babies, little kids who like see things? They have imaginary friends, or they have different like little visions of things as little kids, because they are still tapped into their intuition before it's kind of told like, what do you mean you're seeing things? Like, that's weird. You have an imaginary friend. You shouldn't have that. Like, you shouldn't be seeing these things. You shouldn't be doing that. If it's not in the physical, tangible world, then it's not real, right? And so it's really something that we're kind of like shut off from at a very early age, when in reality, what we want to do is teach you how to be able to read the energies around you, whether it's from items, pets, spaces, and then people. Like, we have the ability to tap into the energy of all of these things because everything on this planet is literally made of energy. It is available for us to understand. So, I use my intuition to be able to like get to the core, the root of what people are needing. and what they are feeling. I can tap into that subconscious part of the brain to see what programs are really running, what are the thoughts that are on loop, on repeat in people's energy. What are they putting out there in order to be receiving the life that they are living? And like I've told you guys before multiple times in different episodes, but because we all have these energetic bodies, our creator field, our electromagnetic field, the energy that surrounds our body, that makes up who we are and the experiences that we have, that is what you are able to tap into. Our brains are made to do that. Human being brains are literally made to be able to scan and reach in and tap into all of that energy, to connect to it, to be able to understand it. We just have to learn how to interpret it. So we can learn how to interpret the body and what the body needs. We can learn how to interpret what our subconscious thoughts are, what our core beliefs are, what our energy, what our creator field is creating. Because when you think about like, oh, what's a creator field? And it's this thing that you can't see, there are ways that are very easy to learn how to do. Like the gifts that I have are not gifts that just I have. Every human being can have these if they learn how to use them, if they learn how to understand how the creator field works, how human beings work, and how our universe works, and how energy works. Because we all have this energy that we're able to connect to, be very intentional with what we're connecting to, because there are, people who are claim to be psychics, or they are intuitives, or they are, what are some of the things other people call like a psychic? Anyway, there are these kind of people who have these abilities to talk to people who have passed. They have the ability to see some future things. They have the ability to say, you're going to have this many kids, or you're going to marry this person, or you're going to meet this person at this time, or you're never going to be able to do this, or you're never going to be able to do that because I'm not seeing it in your future. But that's not how I work with my intuition, because there are very specific ways that you ask questions and that you connect to different energies. Because a lot of times the people who have or claim to be intuitives, they are, because we all are, all human beings are intuitive. They just might not know exactly what they are connecting to or who they are connecting to. This is just a really good example of how this works. But whenever you are praying to God or you are talking to God, I don't ever really use the word God, because God is a name that people or other beings besides source energy use. There are pseudo gods. There are gods that are from mythology, like Zeus and those kind of things. Like there are gods in different realms of our existence, and we don't want to tap into those energies. I don't want to be asking some pseudo god to help me in my life. I don't want to be asking some god from the fifth realm who doesn't know the actual source truth and might actually be working in an absence of light. So I want to go straight directly to the source of full blown source energy that is pure, that is 100% light. I don't want any question marks. So I will always go directly to source whenever I am channeling or I need advice or information or truth from source. I go straight to the source. So that's kind of an example of how maybe some people will be talking to God, and then what God are they talking to? Did they get to source, or did they get to some other false God? you never know. So you have to be very, very intentional with what sort of energies you are connecting to, and very direct with who you are wanting to talk to, because then you can get a mix up, or people who are, or other beings who are playing God. And if someone is playing God, they are probably doing it for their own benefit and not for the benefit of humanity. So you want to just be like super careful of who you're talking to whenever you are channeling or trying to get information from different sources, because you never know unless you are 100% specific on what you're connecting to, what that energy is. And so that's how a lot of people who are psychics or intuitives, or I can't remember what the other names are of people like that. It's like blanking my mind. But if you are talking to those kind of people, they might sometimes get their information right. They might sometimes get their predictions right. But a lot of times they're not 100% right, because they aren't connected to the right energy, or directing their energy to the right places to get the right read, to get the most correct information for what they're seeking. So, back to the intuitive guide part, is that I use that intuition that I have wildly trained and used on in so many different areas of my life, to make sure that I'm getting the correct information for myself, for my family, for my clients, and use it in a way that helps them get the things that they want. So if somebody were to come to me with their problems, then I'm going to be very calculated in where I go to get the right information to figure out, like, let's say, what's their biggest block. Like for my daughter, that was creating her acne. What was the reason for that? Where is it stemming from? And then how do I find the very best tools to help her overcome that? And so that's the guide part. And I also use my intuition for that. And so when I'm intuitively guiding people, I'm looking in to find the root of their problem, and that emotional root cause that they're, whatever they're putting out with the beliefs that they hold about themselves, that's creating the issue that they're having in their life. And then guiding them through very specific information that comes through to me whenever I'm asking, typically their higher selves, or source, or their true self, because we can connect to different areas. I can connect to their body, I can connect to their core, I can connect to that true self, I can connect to their heart, their I think I said body, but there's all these different things that you can connect to, and then use your intuition to read, or use my intuition to read what it is exactly that they need. What is their body needing? What is their brain needing? What is their, energetic stuff that they need in order to shift it with those beliefs? And then what are some physical things that they need too? Because like I always say, we live in that 50% spiritual, 50% energetic world. So we need a perfect combination of both energetic and physical things in order to get a perfect shift in the results, to get the results that you want. So I will use my intuition to find those missing things that they have in order, or that they need in order to gain the result that they want. So like for my daughter, I said to shift the acne, and there were some beliefs that we had to work on, and then there were some physical things that we had to do too in order to get like that big shift, to have it clear up. So that's the intuitive guide part. And it's just really cool how whenever you are tapped into people's energy, like the perfect solutions come in. Whether it be for physical stuff, or it is with relationships, or it is with, like for my son, I use it a lot in his sports stuff. So there's like every area of life that you could ever think of: money, relationships, any sort of like mental hardness that you're having on yourself. Like we've talked about healing migraines, all of that kind of stuff can be used with the intuitive guidance solve, to completely like get it out of your existence. And then the other part that I use is the healing part. So intuitive guide and healer. And then the healing is what is a lot of the energetic part of it. So there are different techniques that I have learned, trained, and used many times to heal things. You can heal the body, and you can heal traumatic wounds from situations and circumstances that you've had in your life. Like I have had lots of different things in my life that have created traumatic like stamps on my existence. And what's really cool is that with these energetic healings, you can go back to those times and places, and you're able to heal them, to basically remove yourself from those situations and take away that like scarring that it leaves within your emotional body. You can kind of pluck it out, and then you can create a new path. You can create this new beautiful existence and have a new path. I'm trying to do this. I hope you're watching this on video, but you'll have a new path. And on this new path is all of the gorgeousness that you need in order to heal from those past experiences. So it like takes out the old and puts in the new of all of the good stuff that your energy needs in order to heal, to close up, to fill in all of that like scar material. We can kind of scrape it out, get rid of it, and have fresh new existence there. So it's a really gorgeous thing. And you can take out those emotional wounds too and replace them with much better, more satisfying, like pleasurable emotions. So that's the energetic healing part of it. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. We can even go in and do healings on physical parts of the body. I have healed my immune system to, I think it's at 89% right now, where it was functioning at a 17%. So that is a big time healing. And I had to experience that for myself to know, like, okay, if I can do it on myself, if I can do these healings on me through the energetic and then the physical actions to figure out exactly where the immune dysfunction stemmed from, and then go in, heal it, get out all the old icky, bring in the new, boost it up so that it's functioning, as well as it can be. And then doing the physical actions that were called into me through connecting to my higher self and source, and figuring out exactly what those things were that my body needed in order to heal. And I'm still on that healing journey. Like I still have things that I am doing and shifting and changing in order to get it up to the 100% function that I know that I'm capable of having. So it's not a short process. I actually started that about 6 months ago, I think, maybe 6 or 7 months ago. And I've been able to heal it up to that point, which is phenomenal. I have, like, physically in my body never felt better than I have in a very long time. So it's really amazing. And it's like you almost don't know where you were until you get to where you are. So you can see, like, looking back, like, oh my gosh, I was feeling so drained, so down, so like exhausted. My body was just kind of tired. And now that I've been able to do all of this, and it has a lot to do with soul lessons. You have these recurring, everybody should have one major like soul lesson that's usually a recurring soul lesson that follows you for many lifetimes. And it's really cool to be able to use intuition to really get into what those soul lessons are for each person, and then be able to heal them, to be able to shift them so that you don't have to experience them anymore. And then you can get that life that you know that you desire and deserve in this lifetime. So, using intuition allows you to really speed up these life lessons that you're learning and be able to kind of skip all of the hard stuff. Like, there's obviously, we're human beings and we're going to always have learning moments in our life. That's what we're here for, to just, grow and grow and grow. And we can't grow without those lessons. And so if you have intuition and you're able to look in to see what those lessons are, it's really cool because you can kind of speed them up. You can get the lesson that you need to learn without having to have the really, really hard experiences in life. And that is one of my, all-time ultimate goals, being here doing what I'm doing, is to be able to help you guys skip the hard stuff. I lived through it. I lived it all. Like, there was so many things with, friends and boyfriends and, body stuff, and having situations that were just really, really hard. Parent things, like everything that you could think of as a young person. Like, I went through it all. Like, I'm just kind of thinking, like, if I hadn't experienced all of those things, and I've had this, realization multiple times, but if I hadn't experienced all of those things as a, child, teen, young adult, I wouldn't be able to know how to help you guys overcome your soul lessons quickly, so that you don't have to have like a full lifetime of hardships. Because if you're able to learn them at an early age, then you don't have to suffer, basically. You get to have like all the good stuff. You get to have these lives where you maybe experience 1/10 of the things that you could have experienced as hardships in your life, whenever you have somebody who can look in and help you navigate through these hard times you might be having right now, so that you have that realization, you have that understanding that you are in control of your life and you don't have to just let it roll. Like, you don't have to be on that roller coaster. You don't have to just say like, oh, well, I'm at this person's whim, or I'm at the universe's whim, and whatever happens to me, because it's literally exactly the opposite of that. You are able to fully and completely control your physical reality through your beliefs that you hold about yourself, through these spiritual understandings of the universal laws that we have. And if you are able to gain that understanding, then you're able to gain control of your existence, of every single thing, of your body, of your people, places, situations, circumstances. You can have control over all of that, over your entire life, if you are able to understand that you completely control everything in your existence with the way that you think, feel, and believe about yourself. That's what it all boils down to. And any time that you ever have a limiting thought, feeling, belief about yourself, that is what creates any negative experience that you have in your life. And there are very specific ways that we get through intuition for each human being on how to clear those things. And that is my favorite thing about what I do as being an intuitive guide and healer. I use all of that information that I get through my intuition to help you guys get to the root of your beliefs that you're holding about yourself, and then teach you how to clear them out, to show you like, this is what higher self wants, this is what you should be experiencing, this is the potential that your life has to have. Like, you have all the potential in the world to have all the things that you've ever wanted. If you've ever seen something and thought, I want that, and it's a true heart want, you literally have the potential to have that. There's no limits on life, like none. The only limits that we have are limits that we or society have placed on us and that we've held on to and continued to carry and hold in our lives. So that is just kind of like a reintroduction of me, what I do, why I do the things that I do, because I really and truly, like, from the like depths of my soul, want to help you guys be able to live the easiest, most luxurious, most enjoyable, pleasurable lives. Like, that is my ultimate goal. I want it for myself, I want it for my family, and I know that we are able to do that. And I want for you to be able to do it as well. I want for you to have everything that you could ever want in this life and to just enjoy it all, because that's why we are here. We are not here to suffer. We aren't here to be these beings that just have to let the world take control over us and just, be at the whim of somebody else's crap. Like, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to, be like just these robots, these machines that are operating under somebody else's operating system. We each have our very own, and we each need to be able to tap into that very, very unique soul purpose that we are each here for, because we each have these amazingly perfectly made bodies and brains and spiritual abilities that we can tap into that are limitless in the things that they can achieve. Like, if you can think it, if you can imagine it, then it's something that you can do. That's source truth. Like, if you want to do it, you can do it. You just have to get out of your own way, really. You have to be able to just know that the way that you're feeling about yourself and those limits that you're putting on yourself are things that are not truth. The truth is that you are able to do anything you want to do. Literally, like anything. So that's the episode for this week. I wanted to remind you guys to sign up for the newsletter. The link is in the show notes so that you guys can get the invites to the exclusive webinars that I'm going to be holding. They're completely free. Q&As, energy work. We'll do live intuition stuff in them. That's really fun. And each one will kind of have like a theme. And those will be starting next week. And also, I have a couple of other free things on my website. There is a free mini read, where you can sign up and receive a mini read from me via recording. It's really fun to do. You can ask any question you want, and I will give you the emotional root cause of that, where it's stemming from, and some sort of like little easy starter thing to kind of shift out of it. And then there is an abundance finder there and a really fun screensaver that actually me and my daughter made. Well, actually, my daughter really made it. I had the idea, but she's my creative director. So she made this really beautiful screensaver that you guys can use on your, or not screensaver, phone background. And it's just got a really great reminder on there to remember to be nice to yourself and compliment yourself, because that's the number one thing we need to do, is treat ourselves the way that we want to be treated. So all of those fun things are there on the website. Please use them, and just be thinking, like, if this week, I want you to think about if there were no limitations on me, if I wasn't scared, if I didn't think I couldn't, if I didn't have these feelings of this isn't for me, then what would you do? Like what sort of life would you have if it was completely limitless? If it was free of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and beliefs? What would be some of the things that you could accomplish in this lifetime? And know that if you have those thoughts, they are achievable. So, have a gorgeous, gorgeous week, and I will see you next week.